Hello, everybody. Dr. Shadi Ireifej here, board-certified surgeon, chief of specialty and part owner of TrueCare for Pets in Studio City, Los Angeles. Thank you so much for joining our podcast today. We've got my surgical technicians here, Lindsay and Jay.
Hi.
Hi.
And so we're going to talk about we're going to have a discussion about a topic that is throughout. It is so common throughout veterinary medicine, whether you're working at GP or whether you are in a specialty hospital or emergency hospital, and it's something that you just deal with day one. In fact, going into vet school, you experience this firsthand. It's a scenario where you have a client that comes in with their pet. Obviously, they're distressed. Their pet is sick. It's an emergency, and the client is just acting like a jerk. They're just being rude beyond belief. They've never met you before. You have not even set up a patient-client relationship yet. They have no reason to be angry at you, but they are portraying their emotions in such a way that is, how should I say, unsatisfactory. They're being mean, they're being rude, they're being hurtful, they're just being nasty. And so we immediately, as a veterinary profession, just go to our staff and like, oh, this client's horrible, this client's a jerk. What the hell, man? We're just trying to help them out. Why are they acting like this? And so over the years of doing this, and I realized this back in 2006, 2007 as an intern in Boston, Massachusetts, I realized very quickly why clients act like this. And so I've summarized it basically to two possibilities. And the first possibility is the client really is just a jerk. I mean, some people are just malicious beings. Let's face it, they're just malice. I mean, they're just nasty. That's how they are. That's how they live their life. You can't help those people. But I think that's a rare scenario. I think the majority of people are the second possibility, which is basically their emotions are regulated by fear. The fear that they have for the current situation is manifesting itself in a manner that is what we would consider, for the most part, inappropriate for a public and professional setting. They're just being nasty because they're terrified. And then I would break that up into two different reasons why people have fear. I would say that one reason is they're afraid their animal has terminal disease and can't be cured or can't be fixed. The second aspect of fear is they can't afford, or they are already assuming they will not be able to afford what it is you want to charge them to fix their pet. And I think over the years I've seen this to be true and true again. And we'll go into more detail now regarding our thoughts on whether or not that's true, or whether there are other more broad reasons why clients act like jerks when they come in. And then we can talk about what this means to you as a veterinarian or a veterinary professional. Why is this important that you realize clients act this way, not because they're jerks, but because they have an immense fear of what's going on with their pet. So what do you guys think? Do you think that fear is a fundamental reason why people act so insane with us, so rude with us, just when we're trying to help their pet out? Or do you think there are other factors? What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I also think sometimes they feel insecure that they don't really know what's going on with their pet.
The fear of the unknown.
Yeah, like, oh, I don't know why my dog's vomiting, but it's vomiting. And, a lot of people blame it on, the food, I don't know, stomachache, the food they ate, but a lot of times it's much greater than that.
Doesn't be anything from like a bug in their stomach all the way to cancer.
Yes.
And everything in between. My dog is showing a sign it's never shown before. It's vomiting. He looks nauseous and sick. Oh my goodness, this is the end. And I'm so terrified that I'm just going to act like a jerk to everybody who's in front of me, despite their intentions being good.
Okay, well,
What do you think?
That was intense. I think that it's a little more complex than that. I think that if you take any person and put them in an emotionally stressful situation, they're not going to act themselves. And a lot of times when we're dealing with people and their pets, those pets mean everything to those people, and it's a family member. And if your dad was sick in the hospital, your child was sick in the hospital, you would probably be just as irrational. And that's what it comes down to, is being irrational. Just from a place of being emotional, being scared, not knowing, like you guys said, fear of the unknown, leads people to act a certain way. And I think a lot of times when they calm down from that, they turn into a normal client. Some don't. Some are pathologically whatever.
Malicious.
Yeah. But a lot of times these people are just in a state of emotional distress over their pet, and that leads them to act in a way that they hopefully normally wouldn't. And I've seen a lot of situations where I've dealt with people like this, and if you talk to them in a calm fashion, you remain calm, you remain compassionate, you use, the phrases like, okay, I understand how you're feeling, or, I'm sorry that you're going through this. A lot of times they'll apologize to me later. I was upset, I didn't mean to speak to you that way, things like that. And that's great and fine and all of that. But I think what would be amazing is if clients would understand the toll they take on the staff of the veterinary hospital. I get that what you're going through, I get that you're upset, but taking that to a place where you do act belligerent emotionally affects every single person in that veterinary hospital and leads to something we call compassion fatigue.
And so, a side note regarding the belligerent comment, because we do also see clients here that are under the influence. They come here, they're either heavily medicated, or they're using recreational drugs, or they're here that they're drunk. So that does happen too. And of course, that behavior is sort of, you just gotta deal with that. That's gonna happen, especially in a 24-hour hospital. You're gonna have people coming in at 3:00 in the morning from the bar, all messed up with their dog, because they came home after drinking and their dog vomited everywhere, and they just somehow drove to the veterinary hospital, and now they're acting up. And normally, in a normal scenario, that person may just be more of a normal person, and they're just under the influence of alcohol or drugs or whatever it is. So we'll just leave that as a separate issue as well. But we're talking again more of your standard person who comes in freaking out because their dog is sick, a dog or cat is sick. They don't know why, and so they're acting a fool because of some severe emotional distress, and so we get that. Yeah. And so the response that I'll play devil's advocate here, a client here is, okay, we understand that you're emotionally distressed, but you're also causing a severe amount of distress through the veterinary hospital and our staff, so we need you to be considerate of us. And so I think, playing devil's advocate, that the consumer, the client, will say, well, it's not my job to worry about you guys and your mental and emotional health. I'm here because my animal is sick, and I want my pet to be fixed, and you need to just deal with me in distress.
I love this. This is a great question, or a great comeback. And yes, that is very true. You're a client, you're paying for a service. But you're not paying for someone to bag your groceries. You're paying for someone to save your pet's life. And you're going to want the most experienced doctor, the most experienced technician, the most experienced receptionist taking care of you. And those people are not going to stay in this field for very long if they're constantly treated a certain way. They burn out, and we have a very high rate of burnout and a very high turnover rate. And people my age or older in this field is getting less and less common. You walk into a veterinary hospital as a client, I'm sure you notice, everyone is very young. And there's a reason for that, and it has to do with the stress that doing this job takes on you. And I think that if clients want top tier care for their pets, they want the most experienced technicians, the most experienced receptionists, they have to handle those people with a little bit more care. Otherwise, treat them however you want, and expect a new person that's training to be greeting you at the door, a new person that's training to be putting in your dog's catheter, a new person that's training to be calculating the drug dosages of medications that are going into your pet. That's something to think about. It's not someone who's folding the shirt you're buying at H&M.
Yeah. I mean, and in general, if you're nice to people, they're nice to you in return. And usually that can translate to better service for you. I can tell you this from our hospital, we don't alter our services based on whether or not we like you. We're giving you the best care regardless. But in general, if you're in a market type setting and you are being rude to whoever it is you're discussing something with, a purchase with, they're going to be nicer to you, right? You're more likely to get a discount if they like you, or if you kind of just speak to them on a human level. That's just society. That's just normal human interaction. Be nice to people. Even under immense stress, be nice to people. A lot of folks out there have had family members that have been sick in the hospital, like very sick. Well, you're going and you're visiting your very, very ill grandmother, and are you going to be nasty to the nurses and to the doctors there? They're taking care of your family member around the clock, working their butts off for your grandma and everybody else on the ICU floor. What do you? The natural thing is be nice to people. They get it that you're stressed out. You don't have to walk in there all happy, because obviously you're not going to be. Your family member is sick, but be nice to people. So we have a client comes in, They're freaking out. They're being jerks to everybody from the front desk to the technical staff to the doctor. They're just being nasty because they either are worried they can't afford what you're going to recommend as treatment for their pet, or they're worried of the unknown. My dog's got cancer, or it's got incurable disease, it's going to need major surgery, etc., etc. And so why is all of this important? Why should you as a veterinary community care? First of all, I would say because it's so damn common. It's so common. So why wouldn't you want to understand a problem that seems to be endemic in our profession, right? You want to know what's going on with this subset of clients that are acting this way. So maybe now this podcast will give you some insight as to some fundamental reasons why your client is acting out. When you see them 2 weeks later at the recheck, they're completely normal people now and appreciative. And so that's the first reason. The second reason is, well, we want to fix it, right? It's got to be a solution to this problem. And Lindsay already pointed out several points of advice. Use sentences that show to the pet owner that you understand what they're going through. Sure, for us as a veterinary profession, it's just another vomiting case, another diarrhea case, it's an abdominal surgery, it's a broken leg, it's just a routine thing for us, but it's not routine for that pet owner. And so the more that you and your staff understands this from the perspective of the pet owner, the more likely you are to get them on your side. You can't be the point person for their distress. You have to get on their side. You and the pet owner as a team are going to figure out what's going on with your dog's problem. Make your dog's problem the point in which you are directing all of your frustrations at. That's the enemy, is the problem with your pet, not the veterinary staff. They're on your side. They're going to they're on your team. And so instead of being part of the dog's problem, instead of the veterinary staff being part of the dog's disease, they're on your team, and the enemy is your dog's disease. And we're going to tackle this together. We're going to figure it out together. And I think if you show signs, either through body language or whatever it is you're saying, bedside manners, I think you'll quickly get the owner on your team. They'll relax. They'll relax immediately, and they're on your side. We're going to fight this disease together. That disease is the enemy, and we're going to fight that disease together. We're going to try and make it happen.
I think that's true if the way that they're acting is based out of stress. But if the way that they're acting is financially motivated, or the way that they're acting is motivated by some other factor not related to emotional distress, then we're in a different...
It feels different.
You're in a different situation, yeah.
You still want the client to feel that you are doing all you can to work with them financially. Yeah. There still has to be an emotional tie-in to a financial problem. Absolutely. Yeah. So there's some real-world logical solutions to how to help you out financially as a pet owner if your dog is sick, unexpected emergency, and there's this huge bill that they want you to pay. There are real-world solutions to that. You can have a client who declines all your recommendations for financial reasons and still leaves the hospital thanking you for all you tried to do. And that's when you know you won, you did it. Because even though it's a sad scenario, they can't afford your care, they've got to find other solutions, they're leaving there thanking you and not leaving there thinking you're all about the money, because you're able to emotionally win them over. And that is vital. And that is something that I'm going to say there's a certain part of that can't be trained. You're going to have staff, and I'm talking about receptionists to technical staff to doctors, everybody in between, who they can't learn these principles. And there are other people that are more savvy and more emotionally aware and conscientious that actually can be taught how to do this, because there is a finesse to this, to basically taming the dragon, having the owner understand, we get it, we're with you, we're on your side, let's fight this problem together, let's figure it out. We'll figure it out within the boundaries of your financial limitations. And it's the same thing when you perform a euthanasia, right? It's a very sad scenario. The difference between an owner who performs euthanasia and leaves versus one who thanks you, hugs you, sends you flowers, sends you a card, gives you a gift card, that's a very big difference there. And the same end solution, pets put to sleep, but one story, the client came there for a service and left. Another one, they came there for a service and realized they have a whole team that's on their side to help them out with whatever they need.
And I think it's important to note, too, that sometimes you as a doctor or a technician or a receptionist, you're just not compatible with a certain person. and that's okay. You know, there's certain people where you meet and no matter what you say, you just don't get on that level with them, and it's okay to tap out. You know, like Miss Jones is coming in and her and I don't communicate well. Can you handle her?
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a loss. That's admitting that you and that person don't mesh well. And I have this conversation with clients a lot because we're a specialty hospital and we deal with clients who have regular vets. And they'll tell me, I don't really like my regular vet. Can you recommend someone? And what I'll say is, what is the problem? Like, do you not communicate well with them in the room? Do you leave there not feeling like you got the answers you wanted? And a lot of times it just comes down to incompatibility. And it's like, you know, being on a dating website and meeting all these people, you're not always going to mesh with the person you meet. And that's okay. And that's okay to admit as a doctor too. Like, you know, Miss Jones, I don't think that we have a good relationship. Maybe you should try one of my colleagues, or, you know, however you want to phrase it. But there is a flip side to it too. There's just some people that no matter what you do, you're never going to work well with.
Absolutely, 100%. I learned that aspect of this profession, again, 2006, 2007, during my internship in Boston. One of the emergency doctors, Dr. Tossi, she was having issues with a client over the phone and suggested, you know what, maybe I'm just not the right doctor for you. Let me find somebody who may be more compatible with you.
Yeah.
And that's great. That was a great lesson. A great thing to see as a young doctor, to think, oh my goodness, you can actually tap out and be like, you know what, I'll get somebody else for you. This is not, I want your dog to get the best care. I want you to feel like the person taking care of your pet is meshing well with you. Clearly, I'm not it, and that's fine. I'm not offended. Let me find you an associate who can help you out. That it was genius, absolutely genius.
And as a pet owner, you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to say that to your doctor, to your technician, because if you're feeling that way as a client, that person on the other end is probably feeling it too. But it's our job to serve you. So we're going to try to help until we realize we can't. So if you realize that as a client, speak up. It's okay. We're
Absolutely.
not offended. We're not going to go home and write in our diary.
Maybe we will. That's okay.
Yeah, Miss Jones doesn't think I'm compatible with her.
That's all right. You can do that. You got to face it. Not everybody in the world's going to like you. Yeah. Whether it's a professional setting or personal setting, it doesn't matter. You're not going to make friends with everybody. You're going to have enemies.
People will speak up in so many other scenarios with that. You know, like you have a friend, you're like, we're not. You know, you're going to be like a hi-bye friend. You know, you're not going to be my best friend.
Friend.
So speak up in this scenario too. And I was talking to a client in the lobby yesterday about this, and I told her, try a different associate at your GP because you don't feel like you're meshing well with the one you're with. And she's like, yeah, I have no problem telling my personal doctors I don't like them and getting a new one because I'm going through treatment for cancer. I don't know why I didn't think about that for this. And it's just follow your instincts, you know, because you're going to get better care when you're working with someone that you mesh well with.
Absolutely. Yeah. So hopefully we've identified kind of a fundamental issue with something that is very common in the veterinary field, and help you guys out there who's listening to this troubleshoot it. And then hopefully we also convey the importance of understanding this and what you can do to alleviate the situation. I think that if you have somebody in your practice who you know is just phenomenal at this, it may be worth setting aside some continuing education time to teach your staff kind of the pearls of wisdom you have to try and work with clients that are under this level of distress, whether it's emotional, financial, but basically run by fear, and they're acting out. There's a way to do it. There's an art form to this. And I think if you are an experienced veterinarian or a hospital manager or a technician, and your practice recognizes your skill set with this particular topic, well worth it. Take a time to train your staff on these principles. And I'm convinced not everybody can learn this. There's a certain swab to this, but those who can, it'll mean a lot for your clients and for your career in general. It is huge. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening in to our podcast. This is Dr. Shadi Ireifej, Chief of Specialty and part owner of TrueCare for Pets, board-certified surgeon. Thank you for following us and listening in. Let us know if there are any topics that you're interested in us discussing, and we will talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye.